Considering I just started transmogging in Guild Wars 2 and accidentally made the opposite aesthetics lesbians in one singular character, I figured it was time to extend one of the series I've made before of how to make prettier characters to Guild Wars 2. Now, I do need to preface this is going to be subjective, not everyone has the same style, but I'm going to take this video to basically explain to you what I've learned throughout my time playing medium armor classes and making transmogs for them in Guild Wars 2, because it's exceptionally difficult to make good looking transmogs in this game, so I'm going to give you as many tips as I can within about 12 minutes or so from all of my experience across around 3,000 hours so far. So, the first thing I'm going to suggest to you is in character creation, make sure you pick the thinner character model. Now, this is subjective, obviously. But there is a reason for it, is because physics act differently based on if your character model is fatter or smaller. So, for certain chest pieces, for example, medium specific, like the Rawhide chest piece, the very first one, this will have a vastly profound impact on where pieces are placed, where physics work, on the fact of if you have the thicker body type or not. That will ruin some of the trench coats for you, and a lot of medium is trench coat. I'm going to give you a couple ways around that, but that is my first suggestion. Make sure you don't screw yourself up there. Otherwise, hair color wise, I would suggest going with something neutral that you can work with relatively easily. So black, white, blonde, you can mix these colors quite easily. I don't know if that quantifies neutral, to be honest with you, but those are the ones I've found you can mix relatively easily through a lot of the stuff with Guild Wars 2. If you go for green or blue or what have you, you're going to have a relatively interesting dye setup. You're not going to have a lot of versatility. Myself personally, I like to change my outfit every, couple of days to a week, and you can switch an entire outfit with just one piece and then a re-dye. That's what I basically did here, and I'll be explaining as we kind of go on. So, for medium armor, things that you need to be aware of in particular is that Norn will have a lot of very good medium armor options for you for cultural, for very, very cheap. Sylvari will also have a lot of good medium armor cultural pieces to work with. Those are going to cost you a little bit more since they're going to be the tier 3 cultural, so go to the vendors for those. It might run you a pretty penny, but otherwise, your human is okay for medium as well, but I found the assassin's coat to be a little bit finicky physics-wise, and I couldn't make it work with a lot of outfits. But if you are a big assassin's coat fan, you can play human by all means. The reason I say go Norn is because you get access to 3 very usable chest pieces. See if I can find them in here. You've got the Wolfborn vest, which is very usable for a trench coat style, and then you've got the Wolf vest, which is usable on its own as a sort of back piece, pseudo piece as well. You can have multiple dye channels in here. And then you also have, what are the other options in here somewhere? I don't entirely remember which one it is, but they're all relatively useful for you. Now, the big thing to note in Guild Wars 2 as medium armor is that most of this is going to be trench coats, as you'll see going through this. Apologies if this is a little too bright, by the way. It is a little different in my game, obviously. But still, as you'll go through, you'll see there's a lot of trench coat transmogs to work with. So, my suggestion is to pick up the very few pieces that are not trench coats. I have 6 or 7, I believe, so I'll run you through them and where to get them right now, just so I can give you some fundamental pieces to work with. Sneak Thief, you can get in-game. You can buy this on the trading post. And then I also have the, let me scroll down here, the Crichton Jerkin. This is going to be gem store only. You can use the Black Lion statuettes for this as well, but you're gonna have to, there's a lot of gem store stuff you're gonna have to buy as a medium armor player to make viable transmogs, which is a massive pain in the ass. Expect to farm about 1,500 gems and convert it from gold to gems to be able to buy these during Christmas sales or just opportunity sales. Otherwise, you're gonna have to grind your ass off during events to get non-trenchcoat chest pieces. I'll cover those as well. I don't know how long the video will run, but I'll try and go through as much as I can. So, Crichton Jerkin, this is one I would highly suggest getting. There's also the Crichton Rogue chest piece they put out recently, but that's only the singular piece, whereas this will give you the full set, which you can get more transmog pieces to work with there. Strider's Tunic as well. This is another gem store piece that I would suggest getting. You can dye the knives, you can dye the back piece. You can see that the back piece shows off some of my Norn tattoos through there, so you can work that into a transmog as well when your bow is equipped. You can also see, like, my transmog is changing very heavily just in switching the chest piece alone. I have a plethora of, multi-use pieces that I can get value out of quite easily. The Glorious Brigandine here. You can get this from PvP or World versus World. Just get the chest piece, and then you can make a sort of sophisticated transmog out of that. Or you can get the Festive Sweater, which this one you can get from the Winter's Day events. The other thing you can get is a shoulder piece that I'll show you in just a little bit. And then you've got the Savage Scale Chest Guard, which is also Gem Store. And you've got the Bestial Tides Tattoos chest piece. So there's multiple tattoo chest pieces you can get out of the Gem Store. And this is also a Gem Store option. Now the reason I bring these up, as well as the Ice Reaver chest guard I have right now, is that's what makes up the bulk of my transmogs, because otherwise you just wind up clicking like, you know, leather coat, and then, oh yeah, pants are hidden, gloves are probably hidden underneath it, shoulders are pretty meh. You know, it dominates a lot of the transmog, right? You can make trench coats work by all means, but, you know, Rubicon coat, you're getting the Rubicon coat from the back, you know? Like, you're not really getting out of that one. So for me personally, I normally go for the non-trench coat pieces. Just wanted to highlight them all there for you. There's also the Angler Vest that I'm going to be getting relatively soon from Local Legend here for fishing, as well as the Reality Rig from Super Adventure Box. So those are my most notable pieces chest piece-wise. I'll give you 2 shoulder pieces, or a couple of shoulder pieces. Strider's Pauldrons. These are really good if you want to make a Sylvanas-style transmog on a Ranger. Fits relatively well. The Crichton shoulders as well, you can mix with some Druid stuff to be able to make something a little fancier, you know, Soul Beast pads and what have you. You see where you can go with a nature route there, with green dyes and whatnot. But most importantly, I would suggest going for medium Houndskin Mantle. This is the most important piece for a Ranger transmog, in my opinion anyways. I got it through PvPing. You can get this through doing an achievement in one of the Season 4 maps, if I remember correctly. I didn't have time for that, so I just PvP'd for it. The Shoulder Scarf is also very valuable. You can see a lot of thieves running this in PvP or just around the world. This is Gem Store specific, unfortunately, so you will have to farm for it. And then the Wolf Shoulders you can also use as Norn, and just, like, you see what that can do for you there, right, with the right die set. Works quite easily. The Winter Fur Shoulders, they also added with the Winter's Day recently. Very high value. I would suggest getting these. These will be available next Winter's Day as well if you didn't get it this time around. Okay, so now with that covered, time to give you some of the other side tips I've got here. So, for starters, let's go for dyes, shall we? My suggestion is to get cheap value dyes that work well on the specific materials you have. So, in this case, with what I've got to work with, I normally use those big chest pieces, or the singular chest pieces. And the dyes I found that work well are Abyssal Sea. So, personally, I opted for grabbing these very early for good value. So this will be your black dye of sorts, right? Once you go all maximum preview, you're as close to black as you can feasibly get. Whereas the other option, Abyssal Forest here, will make you black and green. Which, not bad. I do enjoy that. That could definitely be a transmog as well, but that is the cheaper option. The cheapest for black will be Abyssal Sea here. I also do enjoy using Midnight Ice, which is going to run you 2 gold. This is a very nice sort of black dye as well. That'll be a little bit darker there for you. My wife enlightened me to Crimson dye as well, which is a nice dark red, the enameled crimson here. As you can see, what you could probably work with that. The light colors I'm using here are Aureus. Aureus dye, which will run you 4 gold here. That's the yellow I'm running. And then I have Permafrost. And Permafrost, whilst quite expensive, there's a cheat way that you can get this, which is why I'm gonna reward you for sticking around until 9:40, right, into the video. So, the way that you get these big expensive dyes, like the Permafrosts and the Electro, and all, well, okay, the Electros aren't expensive anymore, but the big expensive ones, is you use your character's birthday dye kits, because those things that you get like hella tons of. I don't have any bank accesses right now. Hell, I'll show you. Let's go. I'm done fishing there anyways. These dye kits that you get for your characters, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and then 5 year, and what have you, are exceptionally giga value. I'm sitting on probably 1,000 to 2,000 gold in dye, and you probably are as well. So, let's pop this up. Also, mount skins. We'll cover those in a second. But we'll grab one of these dye kits, say the Jubilant dye or Exuberant dye. We'll do Exuberant in this case, fuck it, why not? And so we'll grab that, and then we'll double click it. And you'll see all these dye packs, right? Now what you can do is you can right click preview these, and it will tell you in game what you're working with here, you know? Bloodstone Dark Violet. There's some nice dark dye for you right here. You can also go and look at, on top of this, you can do it either this way, or you can go and just type, oh shit, you can type /wiki permafrost frost dye, and then it'll open up your wiki, and in this case it'll say exclusive color swatch 2017-2021, or Jormag dye kit. Do we have a Jormag dye kit? We don't have one in here, but we do have Primordius, which is going to give us, say, like yellows and reds and what have you. So along these lines, I would just go and find through all of my dye kits until I found one that had permafrost. So I'll do it just for showcase right here. I will put that back, and then we'll just grab the Jubilant, we'll grab that, Anniversary Pack new, and we will Triumphant Victorious. Let's just have a look for the Jormag dye kit to show you. Jormag dye kit. And then we would just go in, pick permafrost, and there you go, there's a 119 gold dye that you got for, I mean, I guess having a character for a year isn't free, but still, that's my suggestion on how to get those nice and dirt cheap. Utilizing that method, plus getting basically all of the chess pieces you need to create varyingly different transmogs, you'll be on your way to getting some good transmog results. Now, other things I would suggest, especially for Medium Armor Ranger, is to pick up some quivers, because it'll make it much easier for your transmogs and what have you. Rox's quiver is my personal favorite. You can also go for the Forest Archer quiver, which comes with the Forest Archer cape. Fun fact about the Forest Archer cape is it actually moves where your bow is situated on your back. Like, it moves it to a different location, same thing with great swords and what have you, so it just fits better. Why that can't be updated to the entirety of the game, I don't know, but, you know, yeah. Cheap capes you can get, here, I'll show you what I mean. Notice the position of the bow, right? Simple enough. Is the basic guild cape. You can get this from joining most guilds, going to their halls and picking those up. Other back pieces I would suggest, I was talking about the quivers before, there's also a quiver you can get in-game without having to spend any gold whatsoever, which is the, does it not show up here? This one. This is the quiver of 1,000 arrows. So there is, if you Google that and type in quiver of 1,000 arrows, you'll get the recipe to craft this in the Mystic Forge. I don't have it just yet because it's a little more expensive than I'm able to put together. I think it'll run about 60 gold, give or take. But if you're playing a ranger, very good option for you. If you're playing a thief, you can also utilize that as well. One cool thing that you can do is if you're playing a thief or even playing a short bow character, you can get a bow called the Pirate Crescent. We come down to two-handed, we can go down to short bow. Well, obviously we'll see long bow. I'll just go pirate here to showcase it. And you'll see there's the Pirate Needler. So I'll preview that. And that is the long bow, I believe, right? The Pirate Crescent is the short bow, or the long bow, sorry. And the short bow is the exact same skin. Now, I don't know if this is on purpose, but what this basically means is if you're playing a short bow character and you want to use a long bow model, or a very big bow, you can use the Pirate Needler, which is acquired from the end of the jumping puzzle in Lion's Arch, which you can Google that separately if you wanted to. Or you could use the Vermilion Longbow, which you can get out of the Black Lion cache. This one will take you a while to get, but that also has the same model on both long and short bow, so you can get a very long short bow. Or you could look at some of the other stuff as well. My other suggestions, mount skins, try and line them up with your transmogs. I got a free raptor skin thing, basically, and I went through and I previewed every single one of them. You can change the preview colors in the preview window if you dye your mounts in this panel. When you decide to buy something or what have you, that'll make sense. Then you just dye your mount, preview, dye your mount, preview, and you can start to figure out which setup you want. If you're curious about the one I'm using, I am using a Luminous Prowler Raptor, and I've dyed this with the same colors I have on my outfit, Permafrost and Aureus as well. And otherwise, if you have, if you're running the same outfit and you end up just getting bored of it for whatever reason, you don't even have to change outfits in some scenarios. You can literally just dye the entire thing black, and congratulations, now you have an entirely new outfit. I mean, obviously that's not the greatest looking, but you go through and you do black and red and what have you. Mix some of the simpler colors that all work together. So I'll show you if I was to rebrand this one, for example. Let's go with like black and yellow, for example. Okay, well, first I would cover everything. Just start from scratch. Oh, that's pretty cool. What I would do is put the yellow there instead. There we go. Now we're starting to come together. You could opt for that if you wanted to. No, honestly, I prefer it like that. And then we just come into the cloak. We black everything. And then we just go back over. What I suggest doing is like just black out everything first, or pick whatever dominant color you want to use in here and just go over everything with it, and then go over and highlight through so you can look through it like, oh, okay, where does this color work with this material? And specific dyes will work differently on different types of materials. So say, for example, my Abyssal Sea, right, will look darker on this shoulder piece than it will on a different shoulder piece. Another thing you can do that I also learned is you can go in and you can switch your shoulder piece, for example, and then you can go back to your dyes and you can dye that as well. So you can just experiment with it over and over and over again until you get something that doesn't look like complete cancer like I'm putting together right now. But you can do that without expending a transmog charge, and I didn't know that was the case for the longest time, and you can do this with a whole transmog. So now we can literally go through, and we can make an entirely different setup, where we can look for like a hunter-style transmog. So let's put on a quiver, for example. We'll make like a Norn hunter-ranger kind of ordeal. We'll do like a trapper's mask. We'll see what I can put together here. But you kind of get the gist that I'm going for, right? Yeah, I don't like those gloves, but you kind of see what I'm going for. You can then mix and match as needed. I mean, that transmog looks like shit, but still, if you wanted to go for a ranger-style transmog, then you come in and you can re-dye everything to mess around with all of it. So I would, you know, obviously go through, highlight it with whatever color, and then go back over it just individually, piece by piece. Start there, go black with that. And then we can do primary color. Can I actually save this and make it not look like complete trash? No way. That's kind of crazy. I mean, it's still kind of garbage, but... I mean, I'd say it's still pretty ass, but that's much better than what I was aiming for, right? Or what I was just throwing together out of Showcase. But yeah, that is pretty much my overall suggestions for medium armor. Otherwise, things I would suggest to do is to make a legendary weapon of whatever your primary weapon type is. So in my case, I use longbow, and then make legendary armor of whatever hybrid type or whatever type you want to use. So for me, I'm doing medium armor, which I'm going to get when I do the open world stuff eventually, because legendaries can be transmogged infinitely for free. So once I make Kudzu, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my other bow and I'm going to transmog it to Kudzu, so then I have the legendary effects and everything. And then I'm going to take Kudzu, and I'm going to transmog that to whatever other bow I want to use. Because then I can transmog that pretty much infinitely, right? So, yeah, same thing with my armor set as well. I will be transmogging that infinitely, making different setups, making different transmogs all the time. And one other thing I wanted to talk about before I end this off is infusions. This can add a lot to a transmog. So in this case, this is my character without an infusion. If I were to hit my F4, that's my character with an infusion. That is a gray infusion that's in here, the polysaturating reverberating infusion gray. I would highly suggest picking one of these up. It can add a lot to your character. And whilst this isn't the best showcase of it, this is the one I've been using. I was running a black and yellow transmog for a very long time, and this outlines, you can see along the side there, it outlines the character, which also outlines the hair. So when you combine it into very dark transmogs, or you opt for one of the other colors, like the red transmog, you get one of my personal favorites, which is an all-red fire transmog, combined with an incinerator, which you can then merge Soul Beast style to get even more added effects, and you wind up with a relatively cool character. Hopefully this has been useful for you. And if you have any other suggestions for transmog options, or if there's anything I missed regarding medium armor, or quivers, or, you know, good chest pieces, good shoulder pieces, anything that you guys think would be very good for transmog, do put it down below, because of course I can't cover everything, but I think this video did a pretty good job. Thank you guys very much for listening, and I shall see you in the next one. Take care.